All right. All right. All right. Let's go. Let's go. All right, guys. Let's do this real quick. I feel like it's too late right now to even be on right now. I have no idea. It's okay. You know what? Let's push to start the arcade. Ooh. Whoa. Insanity. Yeah, that's way too much. Anyway. Alright, guys. How are we doing today? Everything is being set up like crazy. I know people are on the edge of their seat to be watching what this push to start arcade is. I'm excited because it seems like they are refurbishing. Okay, refurbishing. It's more like repurposing the NFT marketplace into push start arcade. Okay, let me man, like if that is the case, I mean again, depends on the concept, right? Depends on what is going to be allowed to be in and all that stuff. Maybe they've been working with the blockchain base, or it doesn't really have to be blockchain based, you guys. Like it could just be some sort of, a gameplay in order to get people excited, to use their currency, to use their cryptocurrency in order to play. I could see, many different ways that this could play out. Based on the interview that we saw Ryan Cohen did with Max Payne, Charles Payne at Fox News, you could kind of tell that he's revealed a lot more in that interview than the CNBC one. And honestly, I think he knows that, CNBC is not going to give him a fair, representation of the company and what he's been doing so far for the company. And so, again, you could kind of see the vibe within the interview. If you were to compare the two, it's night and day. So with Charles Payne interview, we see a lot more being revealed, and but one of the segment that I kind of draw in for my own, speculations, for my own, opinion on this, is that that Ryan Cohen's going to use cryptocurrency in some way, or going to allow people to use their cryptocurrency in order to play, right? Of course, we're going to be able to, whether we're going to convert all of that into Bitcoin, that's the biggest one, the safest bet in terms of, quote unquote bet. Technically, we don't really need to buy Bitcoin. You could just let people use either stablecoin, Dogecoin, whatever, right? And then funnel that into or convert all of that into Bitcoin eventually. So, or just hold those crypto assets, however much people want to play this and spend into the game. and have some sort of tournament as well, where people could take the grand prize um make a gamble out of it too. I mean, it's not much of a gamble, right? Because technically it's like skill based, okay? So essentially, you have to be good at arcade game, perhaps. Or you could just go there for fun and play with your friends, um, whether it's online, whether it's like all of that. It's very, very evident that they are doing something right now where people need to just wait, and see what this leadership is going to deliver. I know it's slow for most people taste. I get it, but for people who are no patient in this company, obviously Ryan Cohen doesn't want you to be here anyway, right? Because I think he is creating a shareholder base that really care about the well-being of the company. Okay. And whether you like that or not, that's on you, right? If you see this type of leadership already have been, operating in the same way for the last 4 years, and you still being frustrated every time he's coming on, every time he's not talking about anything in the, annual shareholder meeting, and you're growing frustration on that, that's on you, right? Then don't invest in this company. Simple. When we become a millionaire, I will buy you. What? Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. But nah, don't spend on stuff like that. It's okay. That's not very attractive. Okay, Leroy. um, Donate it to some, charity. Yeah, that would be more sexy. Anyway, let's do this. Okay. Um, so this just takes you to this video, as we know. Oh, yeah. Yes. It's just, well, the bunny over here push start. Okay. Um, Alluding to that, we're gonna start something, obviously, and we're gonna, have people kind of sit on the edge of their seat, so to speak. Very excited for that. Now, there's no threat to be seen here except for people who are following, Post Start Arcade. But this is just a rebranding of NFT Marketplace. Okay? Very, very cool to see. All right, so perhaps again, this is going to be like no more. Maybe that tomorrow we're gonna see something, right? Or within this week, we're gonna see something different. Whether it is going to be NFT related, blockchain related, or any type of things. I don't see why they would do away with that at all, you know? And on top of that, I feel, hold on one second, let me look something up real quick. Um, Try to see if institutional ownership is still here. Okay, yeah, it's still the same amount of time. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna Google something here. What is. Mm, um, let's see, let's see. Okay, let's see. Now I understand. Okay, okay, 1 second. Okay, so this is what I want to say. The institutional ownership right here, still at 40%, but this is a different one, right? The other one just says 33% institutional ownership. I guarantee you the next quarter, whenever they're filing for their 13Ds or whatever, you're gonna see a lot more than 40% here. Hopefully it's gonna exceed 50%, and that's gonna open some people's eyes. It's gonna be quietly creeping up like that, where people are not going to see any price movement, and then before you know it, when they look into the institutional ownership, they're like, oh, what? Institution actually owns some GameStop here, and they own so much more. Remember when I said to you about how they rub shoulder together? Just like how Ryan Cohn was saying about the financial elite, is that there's a certain club. It's a big club, and you're not in it type thing. Okay, so even though you are a billionaire like Ryan Cohen, he still consider himself as a retail shareholder. Okay, and so that's telling to you. No wonder they are kind of despise what Ryan Cohen stand for in terms of inside GameStop anyway. And so with that type of stance, you guys, like, I don't understand why people are not seeing the big picture here in this company, and still making comments like, well, nobody cares about cash, like Tony De Niro, right? Like, nobody care about cash, really? Since when? Of course, like, again, if you make the argument that, well, anyone could just buy Bitcoin, anyone could just buy marketable security for themselves, why would they want to buy into GameStop and have exposure to this type of risk? Well, okay, what type of risk are you exposing yourself to when you just straight up buying Bitcoin? I understand Bitcoin to a level in which maybe a little bit above average, right? But to that end, though, there is a pro and con on every single security that you are deciding to buy. If you buy just straight up Bitcoin, right? Yes, there is an upside. However, you expose yourself to the volatility of it. Whether it's gonna go up and down, each year, you never know what it's gonna do. As long as you have a longer time horizon with Bitcoin, 5 years or more, you're gonna be fine. Okay. And I think that's why, the convertible notes is structured to be only 5 years, and then, long term like that, so that you at least have some time for Bitcoin to recover, if you want to play it that way. Versus if you were to buy into marketable security, yes, you're going to have the upside. However, the value of the bond might go down as well because of what is going on right now, where the interest rate wants to go up. Okay, so if you look at the bond market, interest rate wants to go up. Bond market. Let's see. I haven't checked. I think it was Bloomberg, right? Yeah, Bloomberg. Gives you a better setup here to see what's going on. Okay, let me see here. Okay, so the 30 years went up in yield. That's a good thing. I mean, that's a sign that it might unwind back to normal. Okay, because the longer you lend money out, the more money you should get. But before, it was like the opposite. Okay, because the short term here give you more like than 5%, and then the long term give you 4 something percent. And so this is good. Now the 10 years went up quite steeply, so maybe the 30 years gonna follow suit. In which case, let's say something happen to where, this yield's gonna jump to 6% for the short period of time, the value that you would hold for the bond might be going down in value. Now, that's why I think Ryan Cohen just stays, a short-term bonds here, so that if anything happened, the value of the bond will still be intact somewhat. Okay, so the risk is there, and on top of that, you only are earning 4% a year. Now, for those people who say, well, why don't we just buy it ourselves? Well, if you were to buy GameStop versus just buy Treasury, GameStop is more volatile. The share in and of itself is more volatile. So the opportunity to trade with people, if you choose to, obviously, you can. Right? And that with that volatility could do a whole bunch of stuff for the company itself as well. Ryan Cohen could issue unlimited amount of shares. Unlimited, yes. You could go to the market and raise as much money as possible. For what? Right? You have to ask yourself, for what? Okay? Now, if you said, well, he's been piling some cash, isn't that a good thing? No? Going from $1 billion a couple years ago to now $9 billion. How is that the wrong thing to do? Right? If you could print shares infinite amount of time, however many shares that you could do it, yes, I know the price gonna come down temporarily, but with that cash, you could extract that capital market so much more, because, if you listen to his interview, you would understand why he think that way. Just like he was saying, capital market is very unpredictable. You never know what you're going to get. So anytime there's some good opportunity for, for the company to raise money, you better do it, because you never know whether you're going to get that chance again to do that, to raise more money in that sense. Now, when you actually need money to jump into any opportunity, now he even say it too, the opportunity that GameStop have as a equity market here, the share, GME, ticker, simple, is not so much from the business in and of itself, even though the business making money, it's not the biggest opportunity there. He said it. Okay, go back to listen to that interview again. You would understand it. Listen carefully too, because he's really telling you on its face value here, okay, from today onward. He's not speculating. He's not, telling you, hey, we're going to be able to do this and this and this. There's no way for even leadership to, to predict whether, they're going to make $10 gazillion tomorrow, right? Or even a year time span, or even 5-year time span. Nobody can. So for people to expect Ryan Cohen, or even leadership, to like lay out a 5 years plan, when, there's a moment of uncertainty over here where the new administration is flip-flopping like a crazy, crazy person over here. Policy might change, and then all of a sudden you might be in the wrong, right? When you predicted that you are going to do something, and then, policy change, you're going to have to come back and explain to people. So rather than doing that, why not just stay safe and say, hey, we don't know what's going to happen, but the biggest opportunity is the cash deployment over here, where we're going to deploy that capital. We just don't see any, any opportunity yet. And it's clear as day. It's clear as day when he said that. And that's what we've been expecting as well, right? because otherwise, if he see any good opportunity, okay, out there, he would have, go all in on it already. Now the fact that he chipped Bitcoin at the bits here, it's pretty encouraging because again, that's probably the play right there at the moment. I'm not saying in perpetuity here. And of course, GameStop has its own strategy as well. I'm thinking that that Bitcoin, if we are continue to accumulate more Bitcoin, I truly think that we are going to sell that Bitcoin at some point. Okay. Again, going in and out of that, but saying that though, it's just a speculation on my part here. Okay. So don't be crazy. Okay, don't be crazy. Yeah, nobody's here today. What's happening? It's like 9:11. That's an ominous sign right there. But anyway, so yes, the bond market has been kind of unwinding back again. So eventually you're gonna see this. You're gonna see the 3 months is going to be lower than the 2 year. When that happened, obviously, the capital is going to rush back into the long term, right? Because again, you get more percentage in the long dated one. And I guess technically you could sell it to somebody else who will be chasing that yield later on. Now, Strife is kind of competing with this instrument, this type of instrument. So again, to each his own. So long as people think that Bitcoin is high risk, high reward, very risky, and all that stuff, people are not going to make the decision to buy into Strife or whatever, the bond part of MSTR here. In which case, they're going to miss out because, the collateral of that Strife is pretty robust when you kind of look into it. Not only that they will pay you $10 per unit, and they also promise to pay it, and if they miss a payment, Stripe get paid first the next time around. So you could be kind of confident that they will try their best to pay the dividend out. So in that case, I feel like that's why I was like, wait, Ryan, why not just put some of that money into Strive? Because not only that you could also appreciate in value. Let me see. Let me just put it up here because if I'm just saying it, okay, so it's coming down a little bit here in value because, Bitcoin come down in price, which is okay. So I've been adding a little bit at a time. I've been buying up here, adding adding as you go. One share at a time here, you guys. So I'm trying to accumulate this one as much as I can. But, in this scenario here, if Ryan Cohen were to buy it at this moment in time or at any point in time, yesterday too, into, what is it? Yeah, Monday. This is Monday, Tuesday. Okay, and then Wednesday. So anytime this window, okay, window of opportunity. So let's say he put $5 billion in here, just to be safe. 5 billion divided by current price. So let's just say he's going to be able to buy it right here. Okay. So with that, you are with this many units, you time that by 10, because $10 per unit, you're gonna get 400 million dollars. $400 million every year. Every year, that divided up to 4. Every quarter, you're gonna get $100 million every quarter. Just putting $5 billion in Strife. And like I said, the capital will also be protected in that sense if it draws down 7% or so. Right? So let's just say 1 year just fluctuate like crazy, wildly swing based on the price of Bitcoin. Again, it's still traded based on the price of Bitcoin. At least you have the downside protection there. And not only that, you could turn around and get that dividend, and pile it back into it too in order to get that compound interest. I know it. I don't know what the rule is to buy into this type of instrument here. I don't see why not. Maybe there's a rule against it. I don't know. But if there's no rules against it, why not get into this? Now, that $5 billion will fluctuate. You could still get that volatility on the, asset held, because it's not fixed in cash. It's going to be volatile. So that $5 billion, if this is going down like this, right, you're going to see your share price going down, yes. But that's creating the opportunity for the long to go long as well, right? Yes, short might be, doing a little bit victory dance, but how long can they short the underlying asset for? Eventually, they're going to have to close, right? Because shorts, they are not brave enough to hold it to zero. Okay, meaning they're not brave enough to hold any asset until it goes to zero, unless they know for sure that it's going to go bankrupt, right? And so, again, that uncertainty, this is the reason why they don't like Ryan Cohen not saying anything. They want Ryan to say something. The uncertainty of whatever Ryan Cohen is doing is a layer of strategy that will protect, protect their, I guess, intellectual property in order to, protect the share price too. Because again, it's make it a lot more difficult for them to short the company when they don't know what's going on. What if the things that Ryan Cohen is doing right now works over time, right? And so when they lock in capital to short something, they better make sure that they're actually making money on that. So if not, then they have to be stuck in that position for a long time. So nobody wants that, right? So, but my point is that, that $5 billion, if he were to put it in Strife, will depends on what this is doing. If it comes down here to touch this trend line and then continue, then that $5 billion is going to, be a little less. But as long as you hold that units, how many units was it? It's like around this. If you hold that units steady, you will be getting that much money, Was it? Hey, hold on. Crazy. Oh no. You know what? Let me try one more time. 5 billion. Uh, this price point. Okay, so yep. 32 million. No, 42. million units. So long as you hold that units of measurement, 42 million units, millions units, you're gonna get $420 million per year APY in perpetuity, right? Now the value of this fluctuate based on this trading here. You don't really care so much, right? Because as long as you hold that unit, you're gonna get this coming in every single year with just $5 billion. Right? Now that $4 billion could just stay put, for whatever acquisition. Meantime, this could grow by much more than what is parked in JP Morgan right now. But yeah, that decision could be made tomorrow if need be, or even next year, to see how well this is going to do, right? But like I said, if not enough people realizing that this is actually a better instrument than this one, because this one, yes, it's security based on the U.S. government. Of course, U.S. government will never default on their loan, but you know what that means. It means that they're gonna try to print as much as they can, devaluing the dollar as much as they can in order to pay off, their debt. And so if they're able to print at will, then this is going to be becoming more attractive over time. And so if you get in early, right, instead of paying, $200 per unit, you are going to be able to pay it at this price right here, price point. Which means that your yield is going to be a lot higher than people that are just late in the game, didn't take any risk, right? When you take some risk, you really, risk and reward is kind of the whole game play here, right? So I don't know. Again, people are way too safe. I just recently listened to Michael Saylor talking about how the publicly trading companies right now are so afraid to take any risk. It's hard. It's like for them, it's either buying their own stock back or giving out dividends. That's the only two things that they could do with the money. And again, not to scoff at that, but again, because they allowed to, stock buyback is a form of inflation for themselves. Okay, whoever owned the most shares, if the stock is bought back using the company's money, typically the executive and the CEO is going to get more compensation that way because they already have rewarded shares. They didn't use the money to buy that rewarded shares either. They just got rewarded for free and then just sit in the board of director and all that stuff. So everybody got rich except the shareholder themselves, who just have a couple shares here and there. Yes, you might say, oh, well, my one share is going up in value at that moment in time, but, is it meaningful to have one share? No, of course. The people that benefit the most is the people who have the most shares. Okay. But instead of using that money, billions and billions of dollars, remember the stock buyback, go ahead and Google it yourself. I'm not going to do that for you. But if you Google how much money it's been a product of stock buyback within the last year, you're going to see close to $1 trillion. Something ridiculous, okay? Close to $1 trillion not going back into the economy, not going back to people who are seeking work right now. Instead of, using that money to expand more and more business, venture out, they're not allowed to. Like, either because of the board of director or the shareholders doesn't want that to happen, because if something happened to that capital risking out there in the market, they losing out, right? But again, that's why the role of the government should be that at some point you're gonna have to use, maybe not a lot. I mean, maybe not the whole thing, but set some priority, right? You must use 80%. How about that? You must use 80% of your extra cash. If you want to buy the stock back, you can, but only this much percentage. Either use that money to do R&D, research and development, increase, employee salary, so that you increase people way of life, or hire more people, right? So put that money to work in other ways where not only you are alleviating work from your existing employee by having more people, to decrease that workload, you are actually, spreading it to the economy at large here. So it's good for everyone when people are employed and happy and, have time to enjoy their family. But we don't have that world right now. We're living in a world, just like Ryan Cohen was saying, that it's kind of disgusting when you think about it, that, this board of director that was just sitting there and earned, what, $300,000 and just not doing anything much as the corporate governance over here, just to make sure that they have created that wall, safety wall for themselves, right? Even though they're working, technically there should be fiduciary responsibility to increase shareholder equity, not for themselves. Yes, sure. If you want a skin in the game, that's why Ryan Cohen structured the board of director this way. If you want to be the board of director, you must have some skin in the game, right? Either increase value for the company, shareholder first, or, if you want the real deal or whatever, if you want to participate in the current market of GME, then you have to pay money, your own money, buy your own shares, to have some skin in the game as a board of director. Unless you could deliver this much value to shareholder for the extended period of time, in which case, yes, you might get rewarded shares. But the current rewarded shares that was just rewarded out to two people was because of their executive. I mean, they were working for it, right? They work as an accountant or something, right? But again, they do some work for the company. That's why they got rewarded the share, and that's how it should be. That only people who are, actually involved in the day-to-day operation and not just sitting on the board and kind of directing the flow of work over here and expect something amazing. So none of the board of director actually get any rewarded share at the current moment in time. Not to say that it won't change. Maybe it will change one day, but currently, I'm happy to say that. Yeah, I mean, that comment that he was saying that all of the executive give themselves fat bonuses and really not doing anything much for regular shareholder really is going to rub people the wrong way, I'm sure, because the people that are standing to benefit the most is the people that are in the current system, doing just that. That's how they get their fame and their notoriety, oddly, right? Why they get fame and notoriety? Because they own the media as well. Okay. That's That's why you see Adam Aaron being paraded around in CNBC, right? Giving the platform to come out and you know, and giving him his opinion on the company, saying that he's been doing the best he can in order to make the company more feasible. But we all know what I hope anyway, AMC is, and yeah, there will be people still pushing it, saying to you that, oh, you know, theater is coming back and all that stuff. That's kind of exhausting actually. But if they want to promote it, go ahead. I mean, you know, it's a free country. GameStop is always the the only play that is right, that they want you to be distracted and get into everything else except GameStop. So it's coming. I know. I'm babbling on here. I think I might end the stream in a minute here. But let me check the option chain real quick here. Now, I won't be surprised at all, okay, at all, if it ends in max pain this week, which is 2350. Unless some things happen tomorrow where, you know, some announcements or something like that, but I highly doubt that it's going to do anything. You know, the spike and all that stuff until bigger stuff's starting to roll in. So max pain, still small, really, very small. But you could see the skewed. It's been like this for quite some time, you guys. So yeah, something is happening. August, maybe end of August. Who knows? Anyway, so just be on lookout for that. I think it's gonna still be in the 2350. If anything, it's probably going to run a little bit and then coming back Friday, just to close at this price point right here. Max pain, remember, max pain is real, you guys. Now, that's not to say write covered call at that exact price or a little bit above, because at some point they're gonna try to grab that shares from you too. So have your own strategy. Do your best to accumulate, and yes, if you want to write cover call, go ahead. But yeah, you're gonna risk so much, okay? Because if you lose that share, that's on you. You want that premium, great. So long as you don't care about losing that shares, more power to you, okay? And whatever that premium you're gonna get to do with, you know, I hope you enjoy that. That little tiny premium that you might be able to capture here. All right, guys, I will let you go, and yeah, just be vigilant. Brian Cohen's right here. He's not going anywhere. Understand that this investment is about long-term horizon. You know, your cost base might be very low or very high, so be careful if you are going to jump all in. I am so happy that crypto is kind of doing what I expected to do. And so, yes, if Jimmy were to be at this price point when crypto going berserk, where do you think I'm going to take profit on crypto to go into? Yeah, GameStop right here. So, yeah, keep it down low, please, until I get my profit from my crypto, and then going back into Jimmy slowly again. Yes. I can't wait. All right, guys, I will let you go. See you when I see you.